Everyone. So I want to talk about used laptops and recycling them and and possibly upgrading your software and your actual hardware. I think that, well, no, we're essentially going to have a hard economic time. I predict we're going to be in stagflation in about a year. So in order to save you guys money, start considering buying used laptops and repairing them and going through YouTube tutorials and such. Um, Update, there are definitely old laptops with DVD players, so that's an added benefit too. So you can get that. You can hook up an old HDMI cable to your TV and watch it there, as well, because they don't even build uh HD TVs with you know, DVD players anymore. If you find one with a Blu-ray player, then I guess you're golden because you can watch movies and listen to music as well. And also, I guess you can play video games on there as well. There's definitely some way to do it, given the fact that some old, games like Portal were essentially on a DVD, essentially. So there's that. Linux is going to be your best friend in all this, and I do think that you're going to start seeing more of that in these harder economic times. I also think that LibreOffice is going to be another thing that you're going to want to do because Microsoft Office is going to be a few $100, with Access and Word and stuff, and the Document Foundation is great. I do like using LibreOffice. I know it's a bit of a struggle. You can't exactly record um, presentations with it, but there are ways around this. We can still use Canva as well, to deal with this. And if Microsoft is charging, $200, $300 a pop for a yearly subscription, you can say to them, forget it, we're going to LibreOffice. We're gonna work on these files ourselves too. And we can export this as a docx file. We can export it as an ODT document. And we can still do slideshows with it as well. And now some of you may be using docs in the Mac, but it's much cheaper than having Microsoft Word on your laptop. I mean, it's still built into some of the computers and as well. Um, so there's that. And so that's always a benefit when you do buy it though. But I think that at this point, you need to start considering cutting back on expenses at this point because I genuinely believe that we're going to be railroaded and it's going to be worse than 2008. I don't think that an economic crash could come as badly as 1929, but I do think that the next crash is going to be worse than '08. So I'm not exact, so I can't, so I'm not, I don't have a way to measure how bad it will be. I'm not I'm not a gauge. I'm not a human gauge at all. But, but I do think that when it happens, it's going to be very bad. And I'm honestly, and it's not just computers. I'm looking to grow my own apples soon. At this point, I'm looking up ways on ChatGPT to grow apples and save money on going to the grocery store because it is going to be bad, and I know it's going to be bad, and it's a shame that this all had to come too. I mean, you know, I want to make this channel to help people, create a second income and everything. And remember, with audiobooks, you know, you don't need the latest and greatest. You just, you know, and Audacity is also free. You can use, you know, a standard USB microphone as well. And and there are definitely ways around doing stuff. You can still get a Rode microphone and record in your closet if you really want to do it like that. And there's ways of going around that, and then you'd have to go into Audacity and just edit it and just zone it out, or you'd have to pause it and then just go. So on the Rode microphone, but I'm not exactly sure how that works. Exactly, you know, the Rode square thing that you put on your right there, and you can certainly amplify it there. So there's definitely ways to doing this at still a very inexpensive cost too. And I mean, people are going to be buying Pine books for the record. I don't know if how much of the parts in that laptop are built in the US, but I figure that it's more than your standard HP at this point. But I mean, I am worried about the tariffs, you know, and I do think and people have already lost their jobs in both in the private and the public sector. But I do want every one of my subscribers to succeed. There's no doubt in my mind that there's no question that I want you all to succeed. And I mean, I'm doing everything I can to help at this point with, you know, audiobooks and such. And maybe and I'm building out a website right now because I think something's coming. I think, I think we're going to be railroaded, you know, more than an 1890s steam train that just fell off the tracks. I'm dead serious. I, you know, I never could have imagined that we would, you know, lose, you know, we would, you know, potentially lose our economic standing over tariffs. I never thought that was possible, but that might happen. That might happen. So there's that. But now it doesn't mean that you should just give up. Do not put your head in the sand and give up. We're here to succeed. And that's what I'm going to do. And I know it can be tough in in just and not having a job at times and losing out and everything of the sort. But I think that we're gonna find a way to succeed. We're gonna put I'm gonna put out content and I'm gonna make sure that I succeed, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that all of you, all of my subscribers succeed. So with that being said, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and take care.